Hello, family. God bless everyone. I pray everyone is doing well. We left off in the book of Jasher at chapter 15. So we will begin at chapter 15, the book of Jasher. And in that year, there was a heavy famine throughout the land of Canaan, and the inhabitants of the land could not remain on account of the famine, for it was very grievous. And Abram and all belonging to him rose and went down to Egypt on account of the famine. And when they were at the brook Mitzraim, they remained there some time to rest from the fatigue of the road. And Abram and Sarai were walking at the border of the brook Mitzraim. And Abram beheld his wife Sarai, that she was very beautiful. And Abram said to his wife Sarai, "Since God has created you with such a beautiful countenance, I am afraid of the Egyptians, that they should kill me and take you away, for the fear of God is not in these places. Certainly, then you shall do this. Say you are my sister to all that may ask you, in order that it may be well with me, and that we may live and not be put to death." And Abram commanded the same to all those that came with him to Egypt on account of the famine. Also his nephew Lot he commanded, saying, "If the Egyptians ask you concerning Sarai, say she is the sister of Abram." And yet with all these orders, Abram did not put confidence in them, but he took Sarai and placed her in a chest and concealed it among their vessels. For Abram was greatly concerned about Sarai on account of the wickedness of the Egyptians. And Abram and all belonging to him rose up from the brook Mitzraim and came to Egypt. And they had scarcely entered the gates of the city when the guard stood up to them, saying, "Give tithes to the king from what you have, and then you may come into the town." And Abram and those that were with him did so. And Abram, with the people that were with him, came to Egypt. And when they came, they brought the chest in which Sarai was concealed. And the Egyptians saw the chest. And the king's servants approached Abram, saying, "What have you here in this chest which we have not seen? Now open you the chest and give the tithe to the king of all that it contains." And Abram said, "This chest I will not open, but all you demand on it I will give." And Pharaoh's officers answered Abram, saying, "It is a chest of precious stones. Give us the tenth thereof." Abram said, "All that you desire I will give, but you must not open the chest." And the king's officers pressed Abram, and they reached the chest and opened it with force. And they saw, and behold, a beautiful woman was in the chest. And when the officers of the king behold Sarai, they were struck with admiration at her beauty. And all the princes and servants of Pharaoh assembled to see Sarai. for she was very beautiful. And the king's officers ran and told Pharaoh all that they had seen. And they praised Sarai to the king. And Pharaoh ordered her to be brought, and the woman came before the king. And Pharaoh beheld Sarai, and she pleased him greatly, and he was struck with her beauty. And the king rejoiced greatly on her account, and made presents to those who brought him the tidings concerning her. And the woman was then brought to Pharaoh's house, and Abram grieved on account of his wife, and he prayed to the Lord to deliver her from the hands of Pharaoh. And Sarai also prayed at that time and said, O Lord God, you did tell my lord Abram to go from his land and from his father's house to the land of Canaan. And you did promise to do well with him if he would perform your commands. Now behold, we have done that which you did command us. And we left our land and our families, and we went to a strange land and to a people whom we have not known before. And we came to this land to avoid the famine. And this evil accident has befallen me. Now therefore, O Lord God, deliver us and save us from the hand of this oppressor, and do well with me for the sake of your mercy. And the Lord listened to the voice of Sarai, and the Lord sent an angel to deliver Sarai from the power of Pharaoh. And the king came and sat before Sarai, and behold, an angel of the Lord was standing over them. And he appeared to Sarai and said to her, Do not fear, for the Lord has heard your prayer. And the king approached Sarai and said to her, What is that man to you who brought you hither or hither? And she said, He is my brother. And the king said, It is incumbent on us to make him great, to elevate him, and to do to him all the good which you shall command us. And at that time the king sent to Abram silver and gold and precious stones in abundance, together with cattle, men servants and maid servants. And the king ordered Abram to be brought, and he sat in the court of the king's house. And the king greatly exalted Abram on that night. And the king approached to speak to Sarai, and he reached out his hand to touch her, when the angel struck him heavily, and he was terrified, and he refrained from reaching to her. And when the king came near to Sarai, the angel struck him to the ground, and acted thus to him the whole night. And the king was terrified. And the angel on that night struck heavily all the servants of the king and his whole household on account of Sarai. And there was a great lamentation that night among the people of Pharaoh's house. And Pharaoh, seeing the evil that befell him, said, Certainly, on account of this woman has this thing happened to me. And he removed himself at some distance from her and spoke pleasing words to her. And the king said to Sarai, Tell me, I pray you, concerning the man with whom you came here. And Sarai said, This man is my husband. And I said to you that he was my brother, for I was afraid that you should put him to death through wickedness. And the king kept away from Sarai, and the plagues of the angel of the Lord ceased from him and his household. And Pharaoh knew that he was smitten on account of Sarai, and the king was greatly astonished at this. And in the morning the king called for Abram and said to him, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you say, 'She is my sister'? Owing to which I took her to me as a wife. And this heavy plague has therefore come on me and my household. Now therefore, here is your wife. Take her and go from our land, that we will all die on her account." And Pharaoh took more cattle, men servants and maid servants, and silver and gold, to give to Abram, and he returned to him Sarai his wife. And the king took a maiden from whom he had by his concubines, and he gave her to Sarai for a handmaid. And the king said to his daughter, "It is better for you, my daughter, to be a handmaid in this man's house than to be mistress in my house. After we have beheld the evil that befell us on account of this woman." And Abram arose, and he and all belonging to him went away from Egypt. And Pharaoh ordered some of his men to accompany him and all that went with him. And Abram returned to the land of Canaan, to the place where he had made the altar, where he at first had pitched his tent. And Lot, the son of Haran, Abram's brother, had a heavy stock of cattle, flocks, and herds, and tents, for the Lord was bountiful to them on account of Abram. And when Abram was dwelling in the land, the herdsmen of Lot quarreled with the herdsmen of Abram, for their property was too great for them to remain together in the land, and the land could not bear them on account of their cattle. And when Abram's herdmen went to feed their flock, family, they would not go into the fields of the people of the land, but the cattle of Lot's herdsmen did otherwise, for they were suffered to feed in the fields of the people of the land. And the people of the land saw this occurrence daily, and they came to Abram and quarreled with him on account of Lot's herdsmen. And Abram said to Lot, "What is this you are doing to me, to make me despicable in the inhabitants of the land, that you orderest your herdsmen to feed your cattle in the fields of other people? Dost you not know that I am a stranger in this land among the children of Canaan? And why will you do this to me?" And Abram quarreled daily with Lot on account of this, but Lot would not listen to Abram, and he continued to do the same. And the inhabitants of the land came and told Abram. And Abram said to Lot, "How long will you be to me for a stumbling block with the inhabitants of the land? Now I beseech you, let there be no more quarreling between us, for we are kinsmen. But I pray you, separate from me, go and choose a place where you may dwell with your cattle and all belonging to you. But keep yourself at a distance from me, you and your household. And be not afraid in going from me, for if anyone does any injury to you, let me know, and I will avenge your cause from him. Only remove from me." And when Abram had spoken all these words to Lot, then Lot arose and lifted up his eyes toward the plain of Jordan. And he saw that the whole of this place was well watered and good for man, as well as affording pasture for the cattle. And Lot went from Abram to that place, and he there pitched his tent, and he lived in Sodom, and they were separated from each other. And Abram lived in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and he pitched his tent there. And Abram remained in that place many years. Chapter 16. At that time, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, sent to all the neighboring kings, to Nimrod, king of Shinar, who was then under his power, and to Tidal, king of Goyim, and to Arioch, king of Elasar, with whom he made a covenant, saying, "Come up to me and assist me, that we may strike all the towns of Sodom and its inhabitants, for they have rebelled against me these 13 years. And these 4 kings went up with all their camps, about 800,000 men, and they went as they were, and struck every man they found in their road. And the 5 kings of Sodom and Gomorrah, Senab, king of Admah, Shemember, king of Zeboim, Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, and Bela, king of Zor, went out to meet them, and they all joined together in the valley of Siddim. And these 9 kings made war in the valley of Siddim, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were smitten before the kings of Elam. And the valley of Siddim was full of lime pits, and the kings of Elam pursued the kings of Sodom. And the kings of Sodom with their camps fled and fell into the lime pits, and all that remained went to the mountain for safety. And the 5 kings of Elam came after them and pursued them to the gates of Sodom. And they took all that there was in Sodom. And they plundered all the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. And they also took Lot, Abram's brother's son, and his property, and they seized all the goods of the cities of Sodom. And they went away, and Eunuch, Abram's servant, who was in the battle, saw this, and told Abram all that the kings had done to the cities of Sodom, and that Lot was taken captive by them. And Abram heard this, and he arose up with about 318 men that were with him. And he, that night, pursued these kings and struck them. And they all fell before Abram and his men. And there was none remaining but the 4 kings who fled. And they went each his own road. And Abram recovered all the property of Sodom, and he also recovered Lot and his property, his wives and little ones, and all belonging to him, so that Lot lacked nothing. And when he returned from smiting these kings, he and his men passed the valley of Siddim, where the kings had made war together. And Bera, king of Sodom, and the rest of his men that were with him went out from the lime pits into which they had fallen to meet Abram and his men. And Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, the same was Shem, went out with his men to meet Abram and his people with bread and wine, and they remained together in the valley of Melech. And Adonizedek blessed Abram, and Abram gave him a tenth from all that he had brought from the spoil of his enemies. For Adonizedek was a priest before Elohim. And all the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah who were there with their servants approached Abram and begged of him to return them their servants whom he had made captive, and to take to himself all the property. And Abram, answering the kings of Sodom, saying, As the Lord lives, who created heaven and earth, and who redeemed my soul from all affliction, and who delivered me this day from my enemies, and gave them into my hand, I will not take anything belonging to you, that you may not boast tomorrow, saying, Abram became rich from our property that he saved. For the Lord, my Elohim, in whom I trust, said to me, You shall lack nothing, for I will bless you in all the works of your hands. And therefore, behold, here is all belonging to you. Take it and go. As the Lord lives, I will not take from you, from a living soul down to a shoe tie or thread, excepting the expense of the food of those who went out with me to battle, as also the portions of the men who went with me, Anar, Askol, and Mamre, they and their men, as well as those also who had remained to watch the baggage. They shall take their portion of the spoil. And the kings of Sodom gave Abram according to all that he had said. And they pressed him to take of whatever he chose, but he would not. And he sent away the kings of Sodom and the remainder of their men, and he gave them orders about Lot. And they went to their respective places. And Lot, his brother's son, he also sent away with his property. And he went with them, and Lot returned to his home, to Sodom. And Abram and his people returned to their home, to the plains of Mamre, which is in Hebron. At that time, the Lord again appeared to Abram in Hebron, and he said to him, Do not fear. Your reward is very great before me, for I will not leave you until I shall have multiplied you and blessed you and made your offspring like the stars in heaven, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And I will give to your offspring all these lands that you see with thine eyes. To them will I give them for an inheritance forever. Only be strong and do not fear. Walk before me and be perfect. And in the 78th year of the life of Abram, in that year died Reu, the son of Peleg. And all the days of Reu were 239 years, and he died. And Sarai, the daughter of Haran, Abram's wife, was still unable to conceive in those days. She did not bear to Abram either son or daughter. And when she saw that she gave birth to no children, she took her handmaid Hagar, whom Pharaoh had given her, and she gave her to Abram, her husband, for a wife. For Hagar learned all the ways of Sarai, as Sarai taught her. She was not in any way deficient in following her good ways. And Sarai said to Abram, Behold, here is my handmaid Hagar. Go to her, that she may bring forth on my knees, that I may also obtain children through her. And at the end of 10 years of Abram's dwelling in the land of Canaan, which is the 85th year of Abram's life, Sarai gave Hagar to him. And Abram listened to the voice of his wife Sarai, and he took his handmaid Hagar, and Abram came to her, and she conceived. And when Hagar saw that she had conceived, she rejoiced greatly, and her mistress was despised in her eyes. And she said within herself, This can only be that I am better before Elohim than Sarai, my mistress. For all the days that my mistress has been with my Lord, she did not conceive. But me, the Lord has caused in so short a time to conceive by him. And when Sarai saw that Hagar had conceived by Abram, Sarai was jealous of her handmaid. And Sarai said within herself, This is certainly nothing else but that she must be better than I am. And Sarai said to Abram, My wrong be unto you, for at the time when you did pray before the Lord for children, why did you not pray on my account, that the Lord should give me offspring from you? And when I speak to Hagar in your presence, she hates my word because she has conceived, so you will. She hates my word because she has conceived, so you will. I speak to Hagar in your presence. She despises my words because she has conceived. And you will say nothing to her. May the Lord judge between me and you for what you have done to me. And Abram said to Sarai, Behold, your handmaid is in your hand. Do to her as it may seem good in your eyes. And Sarai afflicted her, and Hagar fled from her to the wilderness. And an angel of the Lord found her in the place where she had fled, by a well. And he said to her, Do not fear, for I will reproduce your offspring. For you shall bear a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael. Now then, return to Sarai, your mistress, and submit yourself under her hands. And Hagar called the place of that well Beer Lahai Roi. It is between Kadesh and the wilderness of Bered. And Hagar at that time returned to her master's house. And at the end of days, Hagar gave birth to a son to Abram. And Abram called his name Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when he had him. Thank you for listening, family. I hope you're enjoying the story, the readings of our family.